All right, today we were going to be talking about Southwest Airlines deciding that if you are overweight enough, you can get a free seat, or at least that's what a lot of people are saying online. I've seen a lot of different comedians kind of talking about this, but just a lot of people in general. We've obviously talked about this in as far as like this whole debate and how it's been, and so I just wanted to go over this article and kind of go over the nuances that I think people are kind of missing. And so this article is from Newsweek, and the title of it actually is "Overweight Passengers Reject Southwest's Free Seat Offer." Now, just a little bit of backstory for those of you that might not know. Southwest is just one airline, right? And so there are a lot of other airlines that have zero policies that is like this. So this is just Southwest doing this. And Southwest is an interesting airline. If you're from America, you might know this, but their seating is different than pretty much, I wouldn't say every airline, but a lot of the major airlines here in the US, where when you go, I'm actually going on a flight later today. But when not Southwest, I like to fly JetBlue. That's the one I fly the most. But most airlines, when you go and purchase your ticket, you will also purchase where you choose where you're going to be sitting on the flight, right? And then there's like upcharges for, a seat that might be in JetBlue. They call it even more room, right? Where you get more room, but you pay a little bit extra, right? It's not like the seats are any wider, I don't think, but there's more room in front of you. And then you could there's obviously first class where you can choose, or business class, or whatever, right? And so most airlines, that's how they do it. But with Southwest, you basically choose your seat. Like you try to board as fast as you can so you can get the best seat, right? And so you don't choose your seat beforehand. You choose your seat when you get there. So that's one thing that Southwest has always been a little bit different. Actually, for the first few flights that I went on, I always flew Southwest, and I thought that was like the norm, because here in San Diego we have a good amount of Southwest flights. Apparently that's not the norm. So that's one thing that they've always been different. And so now this is a new policy that has been kind of brought to the forefront of people's minds, and people have been talking about it. I do want to just let y'all know that I do have a fitness app. So if you're someone that is, you're struggling getting started, or you're nervous about getting started, you're nervous about going into the gym, I have an app that has workouts for people that have zero equipment, or if you have literally like a single dumbbell or a single kettlebell, so very light equipment, very low equipment. And I have these two different programs that are made to help you just get started and get comfortable moving your body. And on top of all of the workouts that are in there, there's also a community. But you can also message me directly through the app if you have any questions. And I am always open to answer as many questions as possible, let you guys know anything you might need to know, or about the app, about the workouts, anything like that. So if you ever have a question, you can message me on the app. I just wanted to let you know that it is available, and I would really, really appreciate it if you would check it out. There will be a link in the description. You can get the first week for free, so you can test it out and see if you even like it. But I would really, really appreciate that. Again, the link is in the description. Let's get into this article. So it's by Suzanne Blake. It'll be linked in the description if you want to read it, but we're going to be going over the whole thing. Southwest Airlines has made headlines for its unique policy of allowing overweight passengers 2 seats with no extra charge, but not everyone is in favor of it. Southwest updated its customer of size policy more than 30 years ago, but many customers have just become aware of its existence after experiencing difficulties as overweight passengers in other flights. Under the policy, overweight or obese customers can get an extra seat free of charge. While some have praised the offering as an inclusive way to accommodate larger passengers, others say it wrongly encourages or rewards obesity. I think this is interesting because I've already read this article, and they don't really mention too much of, like, say if you're someone that's really tall. And so I know people that are really tall, like, yeah, obviously it's annoying when your legs are hitting the front of the seat in front of you, or the back of the seat in front of you, but it would be nice to have extra room because you probably have tall legs, so you'll be able to spread them out a little bit more. And they do go into a little bit of how people might abuse this little policy, right? And so Southwest says this policy is designed to meet the seating needs of customers who require more than one seat and protect the comfort and safety of everyone on board. It goes on to specify that customers of size are those who encroach upon any part of the neighboring seats. So that's really interesting. I wonder if that's how they will almost determine whether or not you can get the refund. So a little bit of I guess a spoiler, but basically what they've said is what you have to do is you buy 2 seats. So you purchase the seat next to you. And then when you get off the plane, you can request a refund. And so I'm just curious as to how they will decide. Like, will they just like, sorry, you're not fat enough, you don't get a refund. Like, you bought 2 seats, that's tough luck, right? Or you are fat enough. I don't know, because like it's interesting because for me, I am not the whitest person in the world, right? The widest. I'm pretty white, but the widest person in the world. But I definitely like would always love absolutely to have a seat next to me open. Like every flight I've been on, I always hope there's no one sitting next to me every single time, because it means I have to like shrink and like I can't sit how I'd like to. And so if I did this, would they agree to it, or would they say, no, we're not going to allow you to do this? Again, I just feel like it opens them up to a lot of controversy, but a lot of people taking advantage of this policy, right? Okay. Under the policy, passengers who are overweight can buy a second seat. This is what I just said, right? And then ask for a second seat to be refunded after the flight. You can also speak to customer service agent directly at the airport about your specific seating needs as a larger person. This policy is a much needed step forward, ensuring individuals of every size and shape can travel comfortably without feeling ashamed. David Amron, a board-certified dermatologic surgeon specializing in lipedema, told Newsweek. Their recurring experience of feeling self-conscious from the moment they board the plane is disheartening. No one should face financial penalties or exclusion due to their body size. I understand where he's coming from, and like I want to make it clear that I can understand the sentiments of wanting to make this a thing, right? Because I understand what it's like to be afraid of not fitting in certain seats. I understand what it feels like to be in someone's way, right? To feel like you're encroaching on someone's space. I get it. I understand those anxieties, but I'm just saying I feel like this policy could be abused very, very easily, right? And it opens Southwest up to a lot of, I feel like, people may be suing them because they're like, oh, they said I wasn't fat enough or whatever, right? Okay, but other airlines such as American, United, and Delta have no such policy, with plus-size passengers recommended to buy an extra seat if their size requires it. Southwest has also deferred significantly from its competitors with its open seating policy. This is what I was talking at the beginning, allowing passengers to pick their seat in the moment instead of being pre-assigned to a spot that might not serve them best. I don't know how I feel. I personally like being able to choose my seat because it means that I almost will never end up getting a middle seat, which I absolutely hate. And like, there's just no way. And so I like that I can choose not to be in a middle seat. But I don't know. I guess I can understand if you're like worried about, maybe people not fitting next to you, but then it's just awkward because if you're like a bigger person, right? And say obviously everyone has chosen not to sit next to you because it's going to be uncomfortable for them. And then the last seat is the person that has to sit next to you. I mean, it's rough. It's rough. Okay. Southwest is also differed significantly. I already read that. So criticism of the policy. Pushback against Southwest policy, which is far more inclusive than the majority of North American airlines, has been swift and brutal since social media users began to talk about it online. Shame on Southwest for rewarding obesity. Matthew Clint wrote on Live and Let's Fly, passengers who take up less space are not given a refund, and those who require more space due to their poor choices should pay for it. So, again, I don't really love the narrative there. Like, oh, it's your fault that you're fat, which, oh my gosh, this is a whole thing. But, like, I just feel like that, I understand where people are coming from when they say that, but I feel like it reduces obesity to something that it's a lot more than just that. But I do understand why people think that, because I would say a majority of people that are, really, really large, a lot of it does come down to choices that they have made. But I wouldn't say that is the only reason why people are bigger, right? In bigger bodies. But again, however, it's not just anti-social justice writers complaining about the policy. Melanie Miller, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, frequently travels on planes as a plus-size person. So this is a plus-size person saying this. She said that there are many things she always has to consider while flying. For one, she'll never be able to sit in the first row of coach because the armrests between the seats are thicker than other seats. I never really noticed that. Sometimes it's so tight I have a large bruise on the side of my hip the next day, Miller told Newsweek, depending on the length of the flight and where I'm going. I might bite the bullet and just purchase a first class seat, which is very comfortable. Aisle seats and adjustable armrests go a long way in providing more comfort, but Miller said she still encountered problems when sitting near other larger passengers, including an incident last week. Yeah, I mean, definitely when there's two big dudes or three big dudes in a row, it's almost comical looking, right? The problem was that my seatmate was also a large-sized person. Miller said his shoulders and chest area were much wider than mine. I spent the entirety of a 2-hour-plus flight. I mean, that's not too bad. It's not very long. Bent over to my right into the aisle. My back still aches today from sitting like that. Yeah, it's not fun. I feel bad for people that sit next to me sometimes. I'm not that big. Let's be real. Delusions of grandeur, I think I have. I'm just too wide, baby. The problem was that I already read that. When she sits near someone who is smaller, Miller said she does her best to stay out of their space. But while Miller said she appreciates Southwest policy, she still doesn't think passengers should be able to get a free seat. I agree. I think I should be charged a premium for the seat that I have, since I would be taking up 2 seats, and that is revenue they cannot recoup. I agree. Miller said, but I don't know. Maybe they fly with a lot of empty seats. I mean, I can say that the Southwest here in San Diego does not fly with a lot of empty seats. And if so, then yes, I would appreciate the ability to set a little more freely. Other large-sized passengers believe the policy could be taken advantage of if instituted on a large scale. Quote, while it's incredibly generous of Southwest, it also is a bit unfair to people who are not overweight and would also like to have some extra space. Yeah, I agree. Comedian Daniel Lobel, who is also an overweight passenger, told Newsweek, who is also an overweight passenger. I think that's funny. Just like, I don't know. If you're overweight, you're going to be an overweight passenger. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an uptick in people wearing fat suits to travel. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen. Dude, that'd be miserable, sitting on a flight in a fat suit. Much like the people abuse the emotional support animals rules. This is true. I'm sorry. Not every flight has an emotional support animal. Lowell thinks it would work best to offer wider disabled seating on planes generally to include obese passengers under that group. I like that. Others say the policy is a game changer when navigating the complex world of flying with a larger body. I've only flown Southwest for the last year because I learned that even though they required me to buy 2 seats for the flight, they quietly reimbursed those of us larger folks after our flight. Plus size passenger Barb Herrera told Newsweek, this way, when people wanted to take a seat, we could tell them in all honesty that we bought it because we did. Yeah, it's still awkward though, right? Because if there's a seat next to you and someone wants to sit there, you have to be like, oh, no. It's I paid for 2 seats. Oh, that would... Still, Herrera is unsure how Southwest navigates the situation when a flight is fully booked. In these cases, many worry that a passenger could be booted off the flight they booked to accommodate the larger person. Yeah, that would be crazy. That would suck so bad. Like not being able to fly even though there's a seat there because someone technically purchased 2 seats. Flying is one of the most humiliating experiences for people with obesity, Herrera said. The disdain and even hate coming from other passengers who pray they don't have to sit next to you and get your fat cooties is an experience that I've had enough of in my life that I hope to never experience again. That last part, I understand the sentiment there. Like I understand that emotional response based on how you've been treated, but it's like maybe there are people that are like, oh, this person's fat and I don't want them to be on me. But a lot of times it's just like you, like anybody, when you're going to be flying for 2, 4, 6, 12, whatever hours, the thought of being next to someone that is going to be in your space is uncomfortable. It's not even like someone is thinking, that gross fat person. Maybe that is happening, right? But I would say most people, it's not this gross, disgusting fat person is going to be next to me. It's more, oh man, I'm going to be uncomfortable now for the majority of this flight, and that sucks. That's really what it comes down to, because like I don't think most people are like these disgusting fat people, but I genuinely am curious how this will be implemented and how people, because I feel like even though I think it's been around for a while, now that it's become popular and now more people can exploit it, like what will happen if someone wants to do this and then they're told that they can't because they were not fat enough, right? Like if you still have to purchase the 2 seats to be like, I purchased these 2 seats because you wanted extra space, and then but because you weren't fat enough, you're not allowed to do. I'm just curious how they do it. Maybe they just allow anybody if they want to purchase 2 seats and then get refunded, but I doubt that that's what they do. But I'm genuinely curious. What did y'all think about the article? What are your thoughts? I would love to know. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Peace.